Hey guys, Bangerz here from the Method's main raiding team. I'm going to give you guys today an in-depth commentary of our Gul'dan killers, a ranged DPS in which I was currently playing a Warlock. As you guys have probably seen, Pemmelsko and Elio have already done this and also done a great job, by the way. So let's hope I can just keep this up and give you guys a good commentary of our Gul'dan killers, a ranged DPS. So let's get into it. First, what I'm going to do is just explain the talents I use in this fight with a small explanation of why. Just so you guys have got a bit of an understanding in case you get to the boss and think, what talent should I use? And then what we can do is start watching the clip and see exactly what's going on in this fight. So for the tier talent 1, for the level 15 tier, I went with Backdraft, mainly because obviously it's a very heavy cleave fight, so this just pulls way ahead of any other talent in that row. My second choice was Eradication. A lot of burst DPS needed, so this is really potent, especially on like the empowered eyes and things like that. It is also a great DPS increase overall on cleave fights, so I went with Eradication on the second line. For the third line, Demonic Circle was actually really good on this fight because you can teleport around when you get the Flames of Bangerz, in which you'll see me doing later. So definitely go Demonic Circle on this fight. For the level 60 talents, I went with Soul Harvest. Soul Harvest is obviously very good because it's an extra DPS increase through burst. Also pulls ahead on this sort of fight, so definitely go Soul Harvest on that one, guys. For the 75 talent, I went Burn and Rush. The only reason I went Burn and Rush is because of the winds. Obviously the winds are quite dangerous if you don't really have any sort of mobility. And being a Warlock, if you don't really take Burn and Rush, you're pretty, flat-footed. So I went definitely with Burn and Rush on this one, guys. On the 90 tier talent, I went with Grimoire of Service. The reason obviously is because it's just so much better now as a Warlock to go Grimoire of Service on pretty much any encounter, especially if you need to do boss damage. So this was just definitely the easier pick for me, guys. And obviously for the 100 talents, I definitely went Wreak Havoc. Obviously because it makes our cleave incredibly strong, and without it we wouldn't really be able to cleave half as good as what we can now. So that was just a quick overview of what talents I use in this fight, guys. And if you have any questions, obviously you can just ask it in the comments below and I'll be happy to help. But now let's get into the clip, guys, and see what we can do from here, and let's go. Okay then, guys, so what I'm going to do is hit play here. I'm just going to show you this part because it actually is quite important as a Warlock. So what I do is I put my Demonic Circle on the edge of the room and put a gateway up for my team. You'll notice that later on we'll go and stand there to bait the liquid hellfires. So this basically is just an DPS increase for me and for the other ranged DPS in the group that also can't cast while moving. So yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a little insight on what I do there. But now I'm going to fast forward it to the point where we pull the boss, because I think we must have a big tactic talk here or something like that. Okay, here we go. So we're going to be pulling an 8 here. Okay, so I'll get my pre-put off obviously as usual. The thing you'll notice here as a Warlock is that I use my 10-minute cooldown, which you should be able to see as soon as the ad comes out. In this phase, obviously, which is a bit different to Heroic, is you get a big ad that spawns, and it needs to be DPS rather quickly. So as you'll see here, I'll be popping my big Infernal. The reason I do this obviously is because this fight is very long. It's like 15 minutes, so normally you don't really ever get to use your big Infernal twice, but in this fight it's actually perfect because it will come back ready for the big burst, big burst DPS at the end, when the boss has taken so much damage. So not really that different here, guys, as a ranged DPS. I mean, you're just baiting the hellfires out. One big thing you have to do here though is you have to stack up pretty close to the boss with the empowered bonds, otherwise you get so far out of range that you can't do DPS. So here we are, we're helping the bonds. If we don't do this, obviously, then the bonds or the people that are helping will die. Obviously, you can see I was a bit lazy there. I saw a lot of people going to the bonds, so I thought I'd just do some deeps. Just typical Bangerz things, boys. So as you'll see here again, we're baiting the hellfire away from the group. Obviously, the further we are away, the less damage we're going to take. Now, one important thing as a Warlock here, what I did as a as a Warlock, because I didn't have any like burst AoE for the middle eyes. I always focused the eyes that are outside of the AoE. So yeah, that helped quite a lot. With these bonds, then what we do is we wait for the healer bubble. So the healer bubble comes out here, so we don't take no damage. So look, this is a perfect example, guys. This is where we used our Demonic Circle and our Gateway, because what we're doing now is we're baiting these empowered liquid hellfires out, because now they drop a green pool under them. So the further we are away, the less damage all the raid are taking. And this was our big job as a ranged DPS. I mean, I think we could have done this tactic a little bit better to increase DPS, but we had pretty good DPS overall anyway, so it wasn't too much of an issue. But as you'll see here again, you know, the eyes will be coming out. I'll be going for the furthest one away, as you can see here. I'll leave the big clumped up for the demon hunters and warriors and things like that. So we'll be getting back ready in position for these next liquid hellfires. And we'll be running together as a group. A bit like last time. We basically do this throughout the phase. But yeah, this phase is not really that interesting to be honest as a ranged DPS. I mean, we're just basically following the boss and killing the eyes and stuff like that. You can see I'm also saving my soul harvest ready for when the next ad spawns, because it needs to actually die pretty quick. Not too quick, but it's just nice to have it up for an ad that actually needs to die, you know. So the other DPS can just focus on the boss. Because the whole idea is we want to try and push it before we get extra bonds and hellfires. So these obviously eyes are pretty annoying because they're pretty far spread out. So you can see me nuking the one to the left, which is pretty nice because I'm killing it before it splits. Okay, so this second ad spawns now. So what I do is I get my emulate on the second ad to increase my soul harvest duration. And yeah, we just start blasting away as a warlock. You know how it is. Like I said, this phase is really not very nice as warlock because we've got to move so much. So these things you just saw pop up on the ground now, which you can see under me, they're called obelisks. So what happens if you get impaled by one of them? You're impaled for I think it's like 10 seconds or something. So yeah, you definitely don't want to get impaled. They're pretty nasty, but they are also pretty easy to move out of. So this is the first empowered eye. What you want to do as a ranged DPS, you want to nuke these as quick as possible and make sure that you're all spread out. As you can see, we're perfectly spread out. None of us are splashing each other, which is pretty nice considering we're in a quite tight area. The eye does duplicate here, which is not very good. You don't really want this to happen at all. But yeah, we deal with it. No one dies. It does get a bit risky, I think, especially when the hellfires are going out like that. The reason we run right here is obviously because we don't want to get knocked into the hellfire with the bonds. So we run right so we avoid that and no one dies from it. Now you want the ad to die here because it's going to start hitting Just Wait really hard. Like it's a one shot if it hits him again with the Shatter Essence, I think it's called. So yeah, carry on dodging obelisks and we just kill the boss here with the empowered eye. Well, we push the boss, should I say. Okay, so the boss pushes at 50.5%, I believe. So right now then what I do here is I put my demonic circle up. The reason I do this is because it's perfect for when I get flames off Bangerz. I can move out really easily without anyone getting disturbed or anything like that. I just basically pop my imp here because you just want to sort of keep it on cooldown. And here you can see I'm using my burn and rush, which I explained earlier, which is just for these wins really, just to help me so I don't get pushed off. Because if you get pushed off, it's a really big tilter because you have to wipe. So what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to save my soul harvest for when the eye spawns, because the damage in this phase is really not important. You just want to kill these eyes as quick as possible and make sure that you can still burst the boss at the end before the demon within jumps down. So here you want to just stack up under the boss for the Black Harvest heals. Just make sure you never ever stand on the tank, guys, because you'll probably kill your tank and yourself. So yeah, that's really important. I think I'll get flames on this port so I can show you guys why I put my demonic circle up. Here you go. Look, this is another reason why I use it for the Storm of Destroyer. Look, I'm perfectly out in position now, so it just helps in keeps everything intact, and there's also a very big DPS increase to use your demonic circle at that point. So the eye is now coming up, so I've already got my Havoc on the boss, so I can instantly start pumping this ad. This is just literally the most important part of this phase, is killing these eyes as quick as possible, so your healers have got enough mana for the last phases. So flames will always be going out at this point, range will always be stacking up, avoiding the tanks. It's a pretty simple phase, this one actually. I mean, There's not really much going on to this phase. I think this is actually the easiest phase in the fight. This phase 2. You also seem to have so many combat reses as well by the end of these sort of phases. Like, as you can see here, I've saved up some soul shards. This is because what we need to do now is we need to run to the boss and nuke this eye as quick as possible. So the reason I saved 5 soul shards there is so I can nuke it really quick and not have to like go for the RNG of having soul shards, you know. Got pretty lucky there with the trinket proc as well. That's pretty nice. For once, it actually procs at a good time, you know. So we get a second empowered art at this point. Gonna use my 2 minute again, my soul harvest, which is why it's so good in this fight, because it's just available for so many different times, you know. Bit unlucky with the flames here, whilst I'm popping my DPS cooldown, but you know, what can you do? So we get another Stormer Destroyer here with the winds. I mean, this can be pretty dangerous to falling off if you're not careful. But yeah, other than that, this bit's pretty easy. It's just a big heal bit. We just stack up on green as range DPS, and once the flames come out, we run out like this, as you can see. You want to try to put these to the edges of the room, because you know we're going to be stacked up near the middle. Like this. If you put them all to like the edge of the room, it's actually pretty nice, because then the other range DPS have a lot of space. As you can see, I get 3 flames back to back. It's not very nice for me, but I just use my demonic circle here, because what happens now is the well is going to fill up again, and you don't really have enough time to soak it. It's just 2 people at this point. So me and Scribe, as you can see here, will go in. Like Scribe will go in. He's got the yellow thing on his head. Okay, so you can see me and Scribe going in here, as we're pretty good classes for this. I mean, I don't take as much damage. We're basically just stopping or slowing DPS here, guys. So this is why you see me completely stop, because this you know, we don't want to push the boss too quick. There's like a perfect time to push the boss, but this eye is really you know, really annoying if you don't kill it quick. So you have to really nuke this eye. Like I don't even put immolate on this eye. I just nuke, you know. Okay, so this is just a bit of a chill phase. We're just waiting to try and push the boss at the right time. So we're going to get wins here, Lust and Burst. What you want to try to do here is you want to try and nuke this boss and push him way before his demon jumps down and does more AoE damage. Because earlier on in progress, obviously we didn't push it quick enough because we didn't really like use our Lust optimally. And you know, then you just lose people do too much damage basically. So you want to try to push this before anything happens. Flames, yeah, again, just go out. I just use my portal. But yeah, we just sort of push this boss really quick. We ignore this eye because it's pointless. It's got more health than the boss. Okay, so now we're going into the last phase. We've got a little bit of downtime here. People are getting in their positions, especially ranged. I was always on the furthest left. Okay, so you can DPS in this little window. I mean, we can't really do that much as a Warlock. I'll just get my DPS cooldowns out. So, parasitic wounds. As a ranged DPS, what you do is you go into the middle, just under the melee feet, and they would stun and AoE them down. But pretty easy as a ranged DPS, to be honest. We don't really touch them because we don't really do much damage to them. This is a pretty AFK phase, really, as a ranged DPS. I mean, there's not really that much to do. Melee have a bit of a job. This ad is really important. This ad needs to die really quick. You need to try to dodge the Seed of Corruption as well, these green things on the floor. They can be quite hard to dodge if the ad is close to you. The closer the ad is, the harder it is to dodge. So we try to keep this ad as far away as possible from our ranged DPS, just to avoid taking so much damage. Okay, one really important thing as a Warlock here is what you can do is you can havoc the Night Orb, or the boss, doesn't really matter, and nuke the other. So basically I'm not losing any boss damage, however I'm still helping on the orb. So it's really nice. Obviously some classes, if they just constantly nuke the orb, they're losing all boss damage, where this is where Warlocks are really strong, because I'm also doing damage to that Night Orb and my boss damage is not suffering one bit. So as you'll see now, what I'll do is I'll go back onto the ad, because that's the highest priority target. I mean, I get hit from the Seed there, but as a Warlock there's no way I'm getting away from that, especially without burn and rush up, because the ad was so close to me. But yeah, so what happens now is we kill this ad off. You can see I dodged that one because I had burn and rush up ready. So this one drops another Night Orb. We ignore that Night Orb though, that doesn't mean anything to us. We kill the Night Orb that we've been nuking already, so we can charge it up, charge up the other one next to it, and basically, if you have to jump into this shield to not die from the big AoE that the boss does. So we get out. It's only got a little buff. We didn't even really get to DPS it at all. It's the next damage increase buff that we have to take advantage of. So yeah, we nuked this ad really quick as well. Probably see me pop my cooldown there. Ready to do some big damage on this ad. Sort of, you see I get stunned in this. This is obviously not very nice. Just pop my personal there just to keep myself alive. One really scary thing about this phase as well, guys, you get flame crash normally at the same time as some other abilities. They're the sort of times when you want to pop your personals. Otherwise you do normally lose people here. Okay, so one really important part of this fight is this night orb. You have to really nuke this night orb pretty hard in order for it to die in the correct time for you to get that extra damage buff. So as you can see here, the ad is up as well as this night orb, so you have to do a lot of damage in this part of the phase. You can see me havocing the ad and the night orb because they're actually the two most important priority targets at the moment. We don't really have to do much boss damage at this point. It's just all about prepping for the last phase at this point. You can see we're pretty stacked here. This is not very clever considering that the seeds are now coming out. We do sort of spread out now, which is nice, but a lot of people get hit by seeds here. Okay, so what you need to do now then is the whole raid needs to run into these demonic essences, charge them all up, and then jump into the shield. So now the boss has got a big damage buff. So this is where I'll pop my second infernal, pop everything, and just go ham here. As you can see, it's got 18 seconds, 17 seconds. So it's got quite a long time of this big damage buff, which is what we're going ham for. This is where you take the biggest chunk of the boss's health off. And what you do here then is with the ads you can see over on my far right, is we now CC these ads because it's pointless killing them. They just do loads of raid damage with the seeds, and you know, it's just extra DPS loss. So here what you do is you just CC the ads and nuke the boss. This is pretty AFK phase. I mean, there's not really much to do. Here you can see me banish this ad because my CC is really strong because it can't be broken from DPS like hitting it. So yeah, you can see my chaos bolt sometimes fly into it because I use the braces legendary. But other than that, yeah, there's not really too much to this phase. You just nuke, get that trank rolling. You still get the parasitic wounds, which will just go into the middle again. Melee will just cleave them down with the boss. Pretty easy. But yeah, I'm just going to let you guys watch this last little bit. You can carry on seeing me CC my ad. So you saw the third ad just got CC'd. So that's pretty nice. We've got no C's come out. We banished him up, boys. And the boss dies, team. Easy as that. So that was my commentary of our ranged DPS point of view. I mean, it's not really that interesting as a ranged DPS. There's some points where it gets interesting with the eyes and etc, etc. However, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always follow my Twitch, Twitter, anything like that. I'm always open to answer questions, guys. Please leave a like on the video. Us Method Boys really appreciate all the support from you, team. But yeah, thanks for watching, boys. Peace out.